there were massive protests over the weekend. They really were. I'm not being facetious about that. There were big protests in a whole lot of cities all around America. Thousands of people in Boston. You can see it's a good number of people. A little swarm. It's like Democrat Mecca, almost like they're swarming the Kaaba or something like that. And it wasn't just Boston. It was all of D.C., all over the country. And okay, you see one frame of a picture, you say, wow, that's a lot of people. However, thousands of people in Boston, one of the most Democrat cities in the country, thousands is the best you can get. Something like 1,500 in D.C. D.C. Those numbers are not that impressive. To put that in perspective, that's a fraction of the people who show up to one Trump rally. One Trump rally maybe in the middle of nowhere. I don't think this protest showed what the Democrats wanted it to show. It was highly organized, so there was big Democrat campaign money going into this. There were some real people. I don't think it was all paid actors or anything. In fact, I personally know some people who showed up to this protest because, as you know, I'm from a liberal place and I've lived in other liberal places and I went to a liberal school. And anyway, I grant that this was a real protest. Numbers don't lie, though. 1,500, a few thousand, compared to a Trump rally, which could have 20, 30,000, 40,000 people. And just look at the numbers on his approval. The approval rating goes up 4 points, north of 50% now. The week of the tariffs. I don't think so. Democrats are going to need to try something else to really gin up popular resentment against Trump. An illegal alien has bragged about being an illegal alien on TV at the aforementioned left-wing hands-off protest this weekend.
My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed.
The way that the Trump administration could go from being an A administration to an A+ administration is if right at that very moment, Tom Homan just rushed the stage and tackled that woman and then arrested her, threw her blindfolded in the back of a military cargo plane and shipped her to El Salvador to be personally interrogated by Nayib Bukele. I'm joking. I'm a quarter joking. The temerity, the audacity to come into our country, to break our laws, enter into our country, violate some of the most basic laws in the country, then to get up on stage, on television, on our publicly funded television channel, and say, yeah, I broke all your laws and you're not going to do anything about it. Now I'm making even more demands. Gimme, gimme, gimme. This is why Americans are not upset about the tariffs. That is how Trump's approval rating went up when the tariffs were implemented and the market tanked. Because Americans increasingly understand that elites view this country as an economic zone, as a piggy bank to be just shaken, jumble the whole thing up if we can squeeze out another penny. And social order, law, justice, that's all a joke. Who cares? We're just going to wring this thing for every dollar it's worth. And most Americans here are saying, no, we want a country, actually. We want social solidarity. A country is not only GDP. Not that these illegal aliens do all that much for GDP. They just allow the elites to pay slave wages. That's really what this comes down to. Trump needs to ramp up the deportations considerably. And I understand it's a difficult thing to do, and they're working on it. They're first going after the face-tattooed gangsters. But if you have a country where that lady feels empowered to get up there and say, I'm breaking all your laws, hey, come and get me, you're not going to do it, then we have a ridiculous-looking country. And what's the argument? What's the argument to tolerate that? The best argument the Democrats are making right now, the best argument is that these illegal aliens need to be imported into the country so that they can work for very, very low wages that Americans won't work for. Americans won't do their jobs because Americans won't work for such a low wage. So hold on, your liberal, bleeding heart, kumbaya, humanitarian argument for mass migration is that we need to oppress the poor. No, Americans, they have too much dignity. They're accustomed to too good a lifestyle and too many rights, so we can't pay them the slave wages that we can pay the Guatemalan peasants. That's your argument. Oppression of the poor is one of the 4 sins that cries out to heaven for vengeance. And the Democrats, who are always prattling on about how much they care about the poor, their explicit argument for mass migration is we need to oppress the poor. And the American poor won't let us do it, so we got to import the Venezuelan poor. Bad look, guys, but it does help you to understand how we can have the worst days of the stock market since 1987. Okay, we can have what could be the beginning of a global financial collapse. And people will continue to support Trump, will actually support him all the more so. That is how toxic the liberals in this country and elsewhere have made their brand and their ideology. It was a good clip. It was a good clip. It was a good clip, I'm telling you. And that's why you should subscribe to get more of them. I'll see you next time.